Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Umpisa na po natin ang ating flag raising program ngayong umaga. Tayo po ay humarap na sa ating bandila at sabay-sabay nating awitin ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas saliw sa tugtugi ng Quezon City Symphonic Band. Mga kapwa ko Pilipino, ang lupang hinirang. Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, halap ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyang ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bugaw. May nilagang tula at awit sa paglayo minamahal, ang kislat ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na naglilibig. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhatit pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng may mga akit, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. Para po sa panunumpa sa watawat ng Pilipinas, tinatawagan ko po si Miss Mariel Sadi from the Office of Councilor Joe Visaya.
Itaas po natin ang ating kanang kamay para sa panunumpa sa watawat ng Pilipinas. Ako ay Pilipino,
Ako ay Pilipino,
buong katapatang nanunumpa
buong katapatang nanunumpa
sa watawat ng Pilipinas
sa watawat ng Pilipinas
at sa bansang kanyang sinasagisag
at sa bansang kanyang sinasagis
na may dangal,
na may dangal,
katarungan at kalayaan
katarungan at kalayaan
na pinakikilos
na pinakikilos
ng sambayan ng makadiyos,
ng sambayan ng makadiyos,
makatao,
makatao,
makakalikasan
makakadikasan
at makabansa.
at makabansa. Para po sa ating panalangin, tinatawagan ko po si Miss Yolanda De Leon from the Office of Councilor Joseph Joe Visaya.
Damhin po natin ang presensya ng ating Panginoon. Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak, at ng Espiritu Santo, Ama naming makapangyarihan sa lahat, taos-puso kaming nagpapasalamat sa araw na ito na ipagkaloob mo sa amin upang ikaw ay aming mapaglingkuran at papurihan. Salamat sa iyong pagmamahal at pagpapala sa kabila ng aming pagkukulang. Patawarin niyo po sana kami sa lahat ng aming mga kasalanan, sa isip, sa salita, at sa gawa. Tulungan niyo po nawa ang bawat isa sa amin upang makaiwas sa paggawa ng mga bagay na hindi nakalulugod sa iyo. Basbasan mo po, Panginoon, ng iyong pagpapala at gabayan ang mga namumuno ng lungsod Quezon sa pangunguna ng aming Mayor Joy Belmonte. Ang lahat ng ito ay aming dalangin sa ngalan ng iyong anak na si Jesus. Amen. Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak at Espiritu Santo.
At para naman po sa panunumpa ng Lingkod Bayan, tinatawagan ko po si Ginoong Alfonso Valenzuela mula sa tanggapan ni Konsehal Joseph Joe Visaya.
Taas po natin ang ating kanang kamay. Tayo po ay manunumpa bilang lingkod bayan. Ako ay isang lingkod bayan.
Ako ay isang Lingkod Bayan.
Pangangalagaan ko
Pangangalagaan ko
ang tiwalang pinagkaloob ng mamamayan.
ang tiwalang ipinagkaloob ng mamamayan.
Maglilingkod ako ng may malasakit,
Maglilingkod ako ng may malasakit,
katapatan at kahusayan
katapatan at kahusayan
na walang kinikilingan.
na walang kinikilingan.
Magiging mabuting halimbawa ako
Magiging mabuting halimbawa ako
at magbibigay ng pag-asa
at magbibigay ng pag-asa
at inspirasyon sa aking kapwa lingkod bayan.
at inspirasyon sa ating kapwa Lingkod Bayan.
Lilinangin ko ang aking sariling kakayahan
Aking sariling kakayahan
upang sa lahat ng panahon
upang sa lahat ng panahon
ay mapaglingkuran ko
ay mapaglingkuran ko
ng buong kahusayan ang sambayanan.
ng buong kahusayan ng sambayanan.
Hindi ako makikibahagi
Di ako makikibahagi
sa mga katiwalian
sa mga katiwalian
sa pamahalaan.
sa pamahalaan.
Pipigilan at isisiwalat ko
Pipigilan at isisiwalat ko
sa pamamagitan ng tama
sa pamamagitan ng tama
at angkop na pamamaraan.
at angkop na pamamaraan.
Isasabuhay ko
Sasabuhay ko
ang isang lingkod bayang
ang isang lingkod bayan,
makadiyos,
makadiyos,
makatao,
makatao,
makakalikasan
makakalikas
at makabansa.
at makabansa.
Tutugon ako
Tutugon ako
sa mga hamon na makabagong
sa mga hamon ng makabagong
panahon
panahon
tungo sa adikain ng matatag,
tungo sa adikain ng matatag,
maginhawa
maginawa
at panatag na buhay.
at panatag na buhay.
Sa mga tungkulin at hangaring ito,
Sa mga tungkulin at hangarin,
kasihan nawa
kasihan nawa
ako ng may kapal.
ako ng may kapal. Maaari na po tayong magsipagupo. Magandang umaga po. Wala ako narinig sa likod. Magandang umaga po. Yun. Para bigyan po tayo ng short talk, ang head po ng Quezon City Information Technology Development Department, Mr. Paul Rene S. Padilla.
Magandang umaga sa lahat. Ako po si Paul Padilla, head ng QCITDD. Magbibigay ako ng I'll give a short talk regarding Quezon City Smart City initiatives, where we are and where we're going. Okay? I apologize. medyo technical to, so kailangan English. Okay. Thank you very much. Sige po. Good morning, everyone po. Especially po to our beloved Mayor Joy Belmonte, Vice Mayor Sotto, Councilor Visaya, and to all the councilors and the department heads who are here today. Now, just see if this works. Next slide, please. Doesn't work. Okay. Quezon City is the largest urbanized city in the Philippines. Given this, how do we govern this? How do we govern this city properly? The answer is e-governance. What is e-governance, you may ask? Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. E-governance can be defined as the use of information and communication technology, or ICT, by governments to provide public services to people more efficiently. E-governance is good governance with digitalization, which allows for better accountability, of the government and the people involved, transparency of the processes involved, responsiveness of the government to the citizens' concerns and needs. It also allows for more effective and efficient services via empowerment and participation of the people, access to information and availability, as well as equity and inclusivity of people in this process. Okay. Now, how do we achieve e-governance? So basically, through implementing a smart city. Why do we build a smart city? Number one, it allows us data-driven decision-making. So kapag nandyan yung impormasyon na kailangan natin para gumawa ng mga polisiya at mga desisyon, mas maganda yung mga desisyon na lumalabas. Hindi siya mga haka-haka o mga opinion lang. Mas efficient at effective ang mga serbisyo natin. More effective services via better collection of taxes and fees, such that we can, because we have the data, we can properly allocate those limited resources to be able to improve the quality of life of the citizens of the city. Next slide, please. Okay, basically, how did Quezon City implement this? Let's start at the center. Via smart identity management, this allows us to, let me just check. This includes our Q Citizens data, information about Quezon City property and businesses. We consolidated and associated that data so that we know who our people are, what properties they own, and what businesses they run. We implement that smart infrastructure via smart infrastructure, via various ICT projects in order to be able to collect the data and communicate with our various offices and branches and coordinate with them. After smart infrastructure, we implemented smart systems, both internally for the people here in Quezon City Hall to be able to do their jobs, and externally so that the public can access our services. These systems allow us to use the data we collect and make sense of all that data. To be able to implement what we need to do, we came up with smart policies such as executive orders, ordinances, and so on. For example, the ordinance of allowing the QC ID to be accepted as legal ID in all establishments in Quezon City. And the fifth item is smart people. No, we work with, hire, and need to train smart people to be able to implement our infrastructure and systems, as well as empower the Quezon City Hall employees and increase their skills in the use of these systems and infrastructure. Next slide, please. So, just to give everyone an idea, what were things like back in 2019 versus now? No? Basically, back in 2019, we had nothing online. So, no online services that the public could access. What did we do? Next slide. So first thing we did to implement smart identity management was to launch the the Quezon City ID and the Q-Citizen app back in 2021. So to use an example that CA Mike Alimburong provided, we didn't reinvent the wheel to do this. No? So we looked at the example of a digitally advanced country such as Estonia, which is probably the most digital savvy country right now. So their citizen services revolve around their ID. So here sa Quezon City, meron tayong 4 na ID. Ang resident card, regular resident, PWD, senior citizen, at non-resident. Na yung non-resident card, para sa mga nagtataka, ay para sa mga tao na hindi nakatira sa Quezon City pero gumagamit ng mga serbisyo natin. So kailangan nila ng account sa e-services. So, ang pagkakaroon nito ay mabisa upang hindi na paulit-ulit ang pagpasok mo ng impormasyon kapag mag-avail ka ng service. Halimbawa, SSID, DBO, BPLD. Isa na lang yung account na kailangan nyo. Ito. So, next slide, please. So, currently, we have over 1 million approved Quezon City IDs. So, just to give an example, 3.1 million ang citizens natin dito sa Quezon City, pero 1/3 nun, mga 14 years old and below. So, mula nung 2021, mula nung nilaunch natin to, so na-cover na natin around 1/3 of the people. And as we go along, as more and more people use our services, dadami to. So, next slide, please. Okay, so smart systems. Let's talk a little bit about smart systems. Next slide, please. Okay. Okay, I won't talk too much about this one to save time. So, medyo kulang oras ko. So, basically, lahat ng serbisyo natin ay available online using any device capable of accessing the internet. So, cell phone, tablet, your computer, and so on. Lahat ng services ay available via isang platform lang, no? Hindi isang program, isang platform. So, Quezon City, QCE services.quezoncity.gov.ph, naka-host ito sa cloud. Single sign-on ito. So kung halimbawa yung inyong Apple ID, Gmail, Facebook, pwede na kayo mag-login doon. Okay, next slide please. Medyo technical na yung mga iba. Okay, so para lang maki-compare, ano yung before versus after. No? Yung nung 2019 versus now. So before, kung pen and paper application lang ang available at pupunta ka sa City Hall at mahabang pila, ngayon may available ka ng option na online, virtual, mas mabilis. Bawas na bawas ang linya natin sa Treasury, BPLD. Pero mga pumupunta pa rin. Pero yung mga tao ginagamit pa rin ang online system para i-access yon. Hindi na kailangan masyado yung manual. Kung dati mabagal at may maraming red tape, ngayon mas efficient na, mas transparent. Kaya na natin i-track yung application mo, yung renewal mo, kailangan lang yung reference number. Nakikita natin kung saan nakasabit, kung matagal, and so on. So dati, yung mga data natin nakasilo. So bawat department may sarili-sariling database. Ngayon, naka-integrate na. So yung data ng city assessor, nakikita na ng BPLD kung kailangan tignan yung information tungkol sa isang parcel of land, for example. Next slide, please. So, sa ngayon, we have 23 smart online public systems na live to. So these cover revenue generation, yung mga, teka lang yan. So revenue generation dito sa lower left, regulatory services sa upper right. Sorry, medyo hindi maganda yung lumabas yung slide. Social services sa upper right, at saka citizen empowerment sa upper left, at saka citizen empowerment sa lower right. Sige, next slide please. So yung kanina, yun yung kayang i-access ng mga tao. Ito naman, ito yung mga ginagamit natin internally, in between departments and so on. So, walo to. So, this is GAD, Project Aurora, Helpline 122, yung Health Information System natin, yung UGIS, a learning and development platform ng HR, halimbawa. Pero I will explain a little more later on. Next slide, please. Okay, for example, yung GIS project natin, this involves 22 offices. As you can see, a lot of it here, the city assessor is the main user, city planning, DBO, CREMCO, zoning, so on and so forth. Next. Okay, so yung GIS projects, some practical implementations. For example, the Office of the City Assessor can perform parcel management. Building official can use that same data to look at building footprints. Engineering department can use that for infrastructure projects and so on. Maraming overlap. Dati nakahiwa-hiwala yung data na to, pero ngayon nag-integrate na. So, mas maganda. Next slide, please. Halimbawa, ito. Internally, ito yung nakikita ng city assessors. Ito yung mga parcels of land natin sa Quezon City. As of December last year, we had 314,485 parcels. Dito nakikita mo yung classification of land, the parcel, for residential, commercial, industrial, yung mga exempted, yung mga taxable. Next. At saka ito naman, next slide please. Ito naman, yung public naman via QCE services, kaya na rin nilang tignan yung kanilang sariling lupa. Halimbawa, nakatira ka sa Pinyahan, for example. May bahay ka doon or may lupa ka doon, gusto mo makita kung ano yung data niya, like ano yung value ng lupa, for example, makikita nyo rito. Pwede nyo rin tignan kung halimbawa, bayad ka na ba for the year. Next slide, please. Okay. Smart infrastructure, ito yung mga iba't ibang IT, like, pakita ko na lang next slide. Next slide, please. So, smart infrastructure, for example, nung 2019, fiber option natin halos wala or maraming problema. Ngayon, we have 200 kilometers an ongoing project for fiber optics. For our CCTVs, back in 2019, we had 400 known CCTVs, but only about 50 were working across the city. Now, we have installed about 1,331, and we are going for a target of 10,000 for the end of the administration. For community Wi-Fi, back in 2019, there was none. There were some which were provided by DICT and some other agencies, but they were spotty. Now we have 4,000 access points across multiple sites, the malls, barangay halls, health centers, and so on. Kiosks for interacting with Treasury and BPLD. Before there were none, there we have about 70. Currently, we also have a street lighting project, a smart street lighting project. When you say smart street lights, that means you can access the data to see which lights are on, which lights are off, which ones are broken, sira, and so on. Pwede nyo rin i-program kung kailan nyo gustong maging on, maging off. Sensors, back in 2019, walang masyado, pero right now we have a monitoring system, 20 air quality sensors around the city, and 6 automated weather stations. So this is used to track climate change, pollution, and so on. Okay, back in 2019, we didn't have anything for students and teachers, but because of the pandemic, we had to distribute 300,000 plus tablets for students and 6,500 plus laptops for teachers. These are still in use. as part of hybrid learning. Next slide, please. Okay, smart policies. In order to be able to implement everything we did, hardware, software systems, we needed to have the supporting legal structure. So these were done as follows. Next slide, please. Just to give some examples. The QCID ordinance, to be able to use the QCIDs here, scholarship ordinance, the Kalagang QC ordinance, social welfare, pangkabuhayan, or QC ordinance, as well as the EOs for creating the CART EODB, the QC strategic HR unit, and our cybersecurity policies. Next slide, please. Okay, smart people. Now, I won't dwell too much on this, basta in order to be able to run all this, we need people who know how to do this. No? So, HRMD has implemented multiple training sessions, an LD learning and development program, to be able to increase the skill set and the knowledge and experience of our people here, so that, to give more value to the folks here. Next slide, please. Okay, just as a reminder, so Smart City, why do we do this? We do it for efficiency and effectiveness of service, to be able to make data-driven decisions, to be able to allocate our resources properly, and improve the quality of life. Next slide, please. Okay, results and awards. Next slide, please. Okay, just to summarize, we have 23 online systems. 14 of those accept e-payments. Nearly 0 queues in live service systems. Scholars and pangkabuhayan beneficiaries are no longer palakasan-based. You just need to apply or use the service online. We have automated business permits, physical copy delivery to the house. We are the first in the country for the automated business inspection tool. And with our recently released health management system, we have patient records available at all 90-plus health centers and clinics. This will expand to the hospitals as well. Next slide, please. Okay. HRMD has conducted more than 100 seminars as of today to be able to increase the knowledge and skill set of our employees. We have 15,000 users on that HR learning and development system. Our occupational permits now can be issued in minutes online versus days before to comply with ARTA. And the Quezon City Library, from 2,077 library cards, will increase to effectively 1 million library cards, because it will be tied in with the Quezon City ID. If you have a Quezon City ID, that is now your library card. Okay? So 12 out of 20 SSDD services are now digital. 99% of business owners can process their permit applications online. There are some exceptions. And 80% of Quezon City employees are registered into the learning and development system. Next slide, please. Skip this na lang. We've received a lot of awards. So skip na lang. Next slide, please. Okay, this is an important slide. No? Doing all this, we've encountered a lot of challenges over the years. Some of these are the following. People's technical limitations or technical capabilities. We also lack budget to be able to fully implement a lot of our projects. Many people say, or Quezon City does have the largest amount of revenue among all the cities in the Philippines, but that is only in a gross number. That does not take into account per capita. For example, I believe our budget last year was around 30 billion. No? But if you divide that among Quezon City's 3.1 million people, that gives you less than 10,000 pesos per capita. So for example, lahat humingi ng ayuda, for example, ubus na. They only get around 10,000 pesos worth. Another challenge is finding the right partners, because public suppliers, they are geared towards profit, revenue, whereas Quezon City, we're geared towards service. So trying to find that balance with them is a bit difficult. Scope creep, ibig sabihin, habang tumatagal yung proyekto, kailangan dumami yung mga requirements. So medyo mahirap i-manage yun. Saka maraming exceptions sa mga processes natin. Sige, next slide. Malapit na po ako matapos. Ito naman, pinaka-importanting challenge, leadership matters. Kahit gaano kagandang sistema mo, kailangan yung leadership ninyo ay on board at pushing that system. Mabuti naman na ang mahal nating Mayor Joy, ang kanyang drive ever since the beginning was good governance. Kaya nagagawa natin to. And very dependent din tayo on the people on the ground managing the system. So kailangan dependent tayo sa honesty nila, integrity nila. Kapag fully automated na mga sistema natin, kahit na medyo may problema tayo dyan, okay lang. Pero right now, we need their help. Next slide, please. So what's next for Quezon City? Next. Okay, so more digital transformation, comprehensive digitalization of our documents. We plan to expand and strengthen our various systems, infrastructure, policies, and our people. And we have multiple systems coming online soon. So, next. So, sorry for the long speech, but thank you very much and have a good day.
Okay, maraming salamat po. Once again, ang ating head ng Quezon City Information Technology Development Department, Sir Paul Rene S. Padilla. At para bigyan po tayo ng isang mensaheng ngayong umaga, ang chairperson po ng Committee on Information and Communications Technology or Cyber Technology at konsyal po natin mula sa Distrito 5, Councilor Joseph Joe Visaya.
Good morning. Good morning, Quezon City, Mayor Joy Belmonte, Vice Mayor Gian Sotto, to my fellow councilors headed by our Majority Floor Leader, Councilor Doray Delarmente, to all the department head, sa aming mga binamahal na empleyado po ng Quezon City Hall, Happy Monday po sa ating lahat. Ito yung unang beses ko po na mag-host ng flag raising ceremony. So allow me to introduce myself. I'm Councilor Joseph Joe Visaya from the 5th District of Quezon City, a neophyte councilor. I had the chairmanship of the Committee on Information and Communications Technology, Vice Chair of the Committee on Transportation, and a member of 8 more committees in the City Council. Napakabilis po talaga ng panahon. Parang kailan lamang nung ma-elect po ako bilang konsehal. Ngayon, 1.5 taon na ang nakalipas sa aking unang termino. Sa bilis ng panahon, parang nung nakaraang linggo lamang, kakasimula pa lamang ng January. Pero in 2 days' time, matatapos na ito yung unang buwan ng taon. In a world where everything seems to move fast, and that fast means good, let's take a moment to slow down. 3 things we can ponder on. It may be true, almost everything is accessible with just tap of a finger. May tanong ka, it's at GPT mo. I'm not an advocate, nor I will recommend this to you, because nothing beats hard work. Our blood, sweat, and tears always have valuable lessons to teach. Lalo na sa trabaho natin bilang public servants, hindi sapat yung mabilis ang serbisyo, dapat pinag-iisipan, pinagpaplanuhan, at dekalidad. Second, I'm sure makaka-relate kayo dito dahil malapit na yung Valentine's Day. Diba, there's this old saying that goes, nothing's worth having comes easy. Hindi lahat yan applicable sa successful relationships na nahanap na yung kanilang the one. Walang overnight success. Kahit sa mga katrabaho natin, we must always invest time, effort, and patience so we can all work harmoniously. Hindi yan minamadali kasi ayaw natin mauwi yung pagsasama sa breakup. We take time to nurture our good working relations so we can always produce lasting and impactful results. Lastly, moving fast doesn't always take you to places. Baka sa sobrang bilis, maligaw ka or hindi mo ma-recognize kung nasan ka na. We can still move fast, but stay in place. In short, let us be efficient but also take a moment to appreciate the things around us. Tanong natin, tama pa ba yung ginagawa natin? Are we missing out important details? Are we happy and satisfied? When we tend to catch up with other people by trying to move fast, we are enduring unnecessary stress. Stress is not good, makes us look old and grumpy.